Hi there, you found Queen Bee Crafts, my channel all about my crafting life. My name is Eve, my pronouns are she, her, and today is a extra special episode for the beginning of this year. This is my end of 2025 WIP parade. I am really excited to share all of my projects with y'all, things that I worked on throughout the year, that I started, and then maybe we'll go into a finished parade at the end of this so you can get to see what I finished in 2025. Apologies, I do have a pet in here today. She's hopefully not going to make too much noise, but we shall see. Since WIP parades tend to bring in a lot of new friends, I thought I would just take a second to introduce myself. So I am 29 years old. I live in Texas, but I'm originally from Virginia. I have been back to cross stitch like full-time as my hobby since 2022. But I learned when I was really young. I don't even remember if I was like 7 or 8, somewhere in there. I am married. I have been since 2023. My husband is a veteran sailor, was in the Navy for 6 years. And we've been, just living our best life. We have 2 cats and a dog, and that's who is joining me in here today. My cat's names are Ash Puddle and Captain, and my dog's name is Bree. In addition to cross stitch, I'm also a knitter. I sometimes crochet. I have been dabbling, learning how to sew. I also diamond paint by number, sticker by number, pretty much anything that I can follow a pattern or something's already designed for art-wise is right up my alley. I'm not very artistic out of my own mind, but I love creating projects that someone else has already come up with for me to occupy my time. So Bree has decided to join me on my lap, so I'm just gonna say hi to the people. Well, thank you for kisses. She is in need of a haircut. All right. So I guess we should just go ahead and get right into this WIP parade. I have 60 projects, I think. I might be showing you 59 because one of them is a gift and I'm not sharing that just yet. So I'm going to do my projects in chronological order from oldest to newest. So you'll get to see the projects that I got back into cross stitch with for some of these, as well as my most recent, and hopefully you'll kind of be able to get an idea of the stuff that I enjoy stitching, the taste that I have, and yeah, so let's just go ahead and get into this. The first project that I have to show you is Pokey All. This is a free chart that you can get from Lord Libidin. I started this one on February 18th of 2023, and any of the projects that I had started before my WIP parade from last year, I will put in their pictures that I took at the end of that parade, so you'll get to see any progress that I made during the year. So here is Pokey All. This one is massive. I'm stitching on 18 count light blue Aida. It's one of the Witch Old Aidas. 1/1 with a call for DMC. And that's Pokey All. I'm going to try to move through these kind of quickly because, like I said, I have several projects that I want to share. as well as potentially show finishes and get into plans for next year, or this year, I guess I should say. It is January 4th, so. Alright, next up is a small that should have been done already, but it is very finicky. So this is Snow Globe. It's a free pattern from, oh actually no, I take that back. Looking at the wrong list. Sorry. My next one is Stardew Valley Map. This one's also free from Chi Chi's a Kitty. I got this one when a streamer on Twitch and a bunch of others were stitching on this, and so we were gifted the pattern as a watcher of the channel. So here is Stardew Valley Map. I started this one on August 26th, 2023. This one's on 16 count easy grid from Zweigart, 2/1 with the call for DMC. And obviously, as you can see, I have figured out a way that I enjoy stitching on my full coverage, and that is parking and working in the diagonal, so I'm trying to do that with all of my full coverage pieces. Alright, now I can show you Snow Globe. I started this one on November 7th, 2023, so it does need to get done this year. I hoped that it would have been done last year, but no such luck. Here is Snow Globe. This little guy is on 28 count even weave, 1/1, which is predominantly why it's going so slow, because the only stitches that I have left in this are in DMC light effects, and if you've ever stitched with light effects, you know they're not very pleasant to stitch with, but I don't have that much more left to do. I just have to power through. Yeah, this one's called for DMC, white even weave. Alright, that's Snow Globe. Next up is Candy. This one I started December 10th of 2023. And here's where she is. Fabric is 32 count gingerbread from Picture This Plus, 2/2, called for DMC for the blue dress, and skin tone 2. She is so beautiful. My hope is to get her done this year. Yeah, there is Candy. Next, this is my last project from 2023. This is No Time Like the Present for Modern Folk Embroidery. I started on the 31st of December 2023, so I counted this as my New Year, New Start. And this is what that looks like. I have to lean back because I have reached the bottom on this project, and it is very large. Fabric is 18 count, very light pewter, which is one of the Witchhilt Adas. 2/1, and I'm using DMC 3847 and 3849. I should have said something earlier, but I am a little bit under the weather, so I don't usually sound like this, but I knew that I needed to record this video, otherwise it wasn't going to get done. So I might pause in between here, take a sip of water, cough. So if there's like spliced bits, I'm just cutting out those bits to save your ears. All right, next is a project that I think I'm going to UFO at this point. I had started a round robin with Stephanie, Cross Stitch the Globe, Kat, Whittier Stitches, and Needle House, Jordan from Needle House. And it got lost, I think. Someone's got lost somewhere. And it kind of fell off. So I am going to UFO Antique Scissors and Spools, at least for right now. And so I'll be able to take that off my WIP list. So with that one off, we'll talk next about the MLK sampler. This is by Stone Street Stitchworks. I started on January 15th, 2024, and it looks like this. "36 count vintage country mocha" from Zweigart. One of her two with the called for DMC. This one, if I just focus on it, should be an easy finish. I don't have a ton left on it. But you know, so is the saying. And probably now, because I've said that, I won't want to work on it at all this year. Okay. After MLK sampler is Cosmic Lover. It's another full coverage. Artwork is by Medusa Dollmaker. The charting is done by Gecko Rouge. Unfortunately, they no longer carry her artwork. But I believe that she has it available on her website where you can purchase the pattern to stitch some of these pieces. So here is what Cosmic Lover looks like. I'm using the 28 count Easy Grid Lugana that came in the kit, but instead of doing it 2/2, I am stitching 1/1 with the kit flosses, and I have made pretty good progress on this year, or last year I should say, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this year takes me. All right. So after Cosmic Lover is the Enchanted Realm stitch along from Caterpillar Cross Stitch. Honestly, this one should be done already. I started way back January of 2024 on the 27th to be precise. And obviously the sale has been done for quite some time now, but I only have one section left, so this should be a finish this year, definitely. Here is what it looks like. This is, once again, 18 count, very light pewter, Ada from Witchelt. 1/1, called for DMC. Okay, and that is Enchanted Realms. Next I have another small piece. I'm not sure why I haven't finished this one yet, but this is a part of my plans for this year to get this one done. This is a free pattern for Modern Folk Embroidery called Mother's Day, but I have kind of recharted it as more of a Valentine's Day stitch. I started on February 3rd of 2024, and that's what it looks like. Fabric is 36 count Brenda's Brew from R&R Reproductions. 1/2 using Classic Colorworks Wild Berries. And that is what I call Mother's Day, in parentheses, Valentine. Okay. Next is the Quaker of Hearts from Modern Folk Embroidery. This one I started on February 14th of 2024. It looks like this. Fabric is 36 count Winter Moon from Zweigart. 1/2 with Classic Colorworks Ribbon Red. And this one I'm stitching kind of as an homage to my husband and I and the year we were married, so. That is Quaker of Hearts. All right. Butterfly Duo is next. This one is from a Leisure Arts leaflet. I started March 1st of 2024. Progress so far. .36 count Vintage Country Mocha from Zweigart, 1/2 with the called for DMC. And that's Butterfly Duo. Then we have the Lunar Witch from Autumn Lane Stitchery. This one, I feel like I've made significant progress on this year, so this will be kind of exciting. I started this one on March 15th of 2024. I'm here so far. Fabric is 36 count Dusty Cottage from Be Stitch Me. 2/2 with the called for DMC and Anchor Black. Anchor, what is it? 403, I think. And yeah, I am enjoying it so far. Even happier once I get a little bit more progress on it, but there's so many things that you want to stitch, but only so much time in a day. So, anywho, next is called He Is Risen. This is from the Just Cross Stitch Spring 2024 magazine, I believe. And it's designed by Lucy Lowe. I started on March 23rd, 2024, and here's where I am. This is just an 18 count Ada. I think it's Charles Craft. It's very stiff. 1/1 called for DMC, and the screen down here is Gentle Art Dried Time. Yeah. That is the Just Cross Stitch, He Is Risen. I do have to specify because the next project is also called He Is Risen. But this one is by a New Creation Studio. I started on March 25th of 2024. And here is what that looks like so far. stitched on 36 count American Chestnut from R&R Reproductions, 1/2 with Classic Colorworks Secret Garden. And that is He Has Risen. Both of them. All right. Next project is Moon Moth. This is another free pattern from DMC. I don't think I mentioned this before when I showed Snow Globe, but if you go to the DMC website, they have a lot of free patterns that you can download or buy a kit for. You just have to basically create a account on their website and you can download them for free. And several of my first projects back into cross stitch I got from their website. They're very easy to follow but very cute. So this one, this is actually the second time that I'm stitching it. I started this version on April 2nd, 2024, and here is what it looks like. "18 count, black Ada from Witchelt, 1/1 with the call for DMC, and this one I feel should also be a finish this year. Okay. After Moon Moth is Busy Bees from Doreen Jones. This is from another cross stitch magazine. I started on April 2nd, 2024, and here is that project progress so far. This is a contender for UFO at the end of 2026 if it doesn't get worked on, because I don't think that it got worked on last year either. So that is what Busy Bees looks like. I didn't say it's on 36 count platinum from Zweigart, 1/2 with the call for DMC. Alrighty. Deadly Aquarium is next. So excited. Love this one. Deadly Aquarium was a stitch along hosted by Lola Crow Cross Stitch. I am obviously not done, even though this project started in 2024 on April 12th to be exact, but I am getting there. We're hoping for a finish this year. We'll see. Here is what Deadly Aquarium looks like today. I'm stitching on an 18 count Ada from Stitchman Darcy called Tangled Up in Blue, 1/1 with the call for DMC. And I'm loving how this is turning out. Very happy. Okay, and so that is Deadly Aquarium. Next, Take Care. This pattern is from Emma Congdon, who is also Stitch Rovia, from Cross Stitch for the Earth, the book she released. I started on Earth Day of 2024, so the 22nd of April. And this is where I am at. Fabric is 36 count Winter Moon from Zweigart, 1/2 called for DMC. This one just, I love the way that it looks, but sometimes it's just not calling to me, really. So it will have its time in the sun, I know. Alright. Next is Sunflower Symphony by Carolyn Manning. I started this one on May 8th in honor of Manning May. And here is what it looks like. This is on 18 count vintage, or I think it might be called vintage smoky white. No, that's the white one. Something about the rain. Anyways, it's the kind of blue-gray model one from Zweigart. 2/1 called for DMC, and I love this. It's a pretty relaxing stitch too, because it's so geometric. Once you get the pattern, there's not really a ton of counting involved, so yeah, that is Sunflower Symphony. Next project is Lovebirds from Autumn Lane Stitchery. I started this one on May 18th, 2024. It looks like this. Fabric is 25 count Victorian red Lugana, which is a Witchell Lugana, which doesn't actually feel that bad. I don't mind Witchell's Ada or Lugana. I do have a bit of an issue with their linen, but that is neither here nor there. I'm stitching 1/1 with DMC 3865, I believe, or just DMC Blanc. And it's looking really cute. I love how tiny it is, like it's smaller than my hand. So there is, take it in closer, Lovebirds. Next is Half Moon, another free pattern from the DMC website. This one is a little bit pathetic. Anyways, I say it's not that pathetic. Anyways, started May 25th, 2024. Progress. Fabric is 18 count Mystic from Picture This Plus, 1/1, with the called for DMC and DMC Etoile. I feel like I say this about every one of my pieces, but I love it. I want it done, but also I'm much more of a process stitcher. Like, if I get finished is cool, but it's much more about the active stitching for me, and also kind of about starting things because that gives me a dopamine hit. So I get finishes occasionally, but I do want some of these smaller projects done. I am feeling a bit overwhelmed by the amount of projects on my WIP list. And on that note, I can show you Robin Spring by Robin Pickens. This one I started June 5th, 2024, and it looks like this. Try to move that out of the way. Fabric is 14 count oatmeal fiddler's cloth, one of the Charles Craft ones from Michael's, I think. I am using the called for DMC and stitching 2/1. And this one's another therapeutic easy stitch. And that is Robin Spring. Alrighty. Next, a Smooth Sea from Emma Congdon, Stitcherovia. This one is from Cross Stitch for the Soul. And obviously, like, I called it Take Care, the last one by Emma Congdon. I'm calling this one a Smooth Sea. They don't have names in the book, but it just seems logical to call it that. So here is a Smooth Sea. I started June 11th, 2024. Fabric is 36 count Gray Magic from Be Stitch Me, 1/2 with the called for DMC. And there is a Smooth Sea. Alright, I'm going to pause for a second, cough, take a sip of water, and I will be right back. Okay, next is How Doth the Little Busy Bee from Modern Folk Embroidery. I started this one on June 14th. Which way is up? I think this way is up. Obviously, I'll be able to tell when I look at my pattern, but if this is upside down from last time, my apologies. I don't remember if I said June 14th, 2024 is when I started this, and there is where I am so far. Fabric is 36 count Blue Moon from Be Stitch Me, 1/2 with Classic Colorworks Honeycomb. And that is How Doth the Little Busy Bee. Next, Scissor Sampler from Tell an Emblem. Really liking how this one is coming along. Did not get as much progress this year as I would have liked, but hopefully we'll change that this year. I started this one on June 18th, 2024. Here's my progress. Fabric is 36 count Winter Brew or Winter's Brew from R&R Reproductions. I'm stitching 1/2 with the called for DMC, and I swapped out the Fancy Floss for Gentle Art and Classic Colorworks. And I believe I have that conversion posted already on my Instagram. So if you're interested, go on over there and check out the highlight that says conversions. And there is Scissor Sampler. Alright, next one is a project that's also a round robin, so I don't have it to show you. And I haven't gotten the next installment in a bit, so I'm working on Moth Girl, or Virginia Namoff, I think is what it's called officially, by Mama Witch X Stitch. I'm doing this one with Samantha, Kansas City Stitcher, Backspin, Andy the Crow Stitcher, and who am I forgetting? Cat, Wiki Cat Stitch. And hopefully we'll be able to get our projects back eventually, because I would love to see my fully finished project that I started on June 26th of 2024 on 36 count Burning Woods Crackling Fire from Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers, 1/2 with the call for DMC. And if I have pictures still, I will pop those in so you can see it. Alrighty. Pumpkins in the Moon is my next project. This one is an out-of-print chart from the company Hand Blessings. I started on July 1st of 2024. It looks like this. Fabric is 14 count Tropical Orange from Witch Holt, 2/1 with Anchor 403. This is another one that should be done by the end of this year. I don't have a lot left. So, there's Pumpkins in the Moon. Next project is the Red, White, and Blue sampler from Erin Elizabeth Designs. This one's kind of exciting because this is where we start to get into more of the projects that that I started after kind of figuring out what I wanted to stitch on. So this one also is my first project on 40 count. I started on July 2nd. It looks like this. .40 count Moon Shadow from Seraphim Fabrics, 1/2 with the called for DMC, and I subbed in Gentle Art, Chalk, Freedom, and Cherry Bark for the red, white, and blue. And there's Red, White, and Blue sampler. Cool, we're about halfway through the list, and I'm at, roughly just over 30 minutes, give or take. So this should be about an hour's long, hour and a half maybe at most. We'll see. Alrighty. After Red, White, and Blue sampler, I started Free and Brave by The Drawn Thread. This was my start on the 4th of July 2024, and it looks like this. This is the same piece of 40 count Moon Shadow from Seraphim, 1/2 with the called for colors. Unsure why I have so much extra fabric on the side, but it is what it is. And I don't have a ton left on this one either. There's a lot of fill-in on this, so with virtual events or just like I need something mindless, that should be a really good project. All right. I have another round robin next. This is Rosetta from Ink Circles. I'm doing this with a group of individuals from the Millennial Fabrics Facebook group. There's 12 of us in total, and there's 12 circles on this pattern. So we have each decided to stitch on each other's pieces in a color of our choice and pass it around, and I'm excited to see mine when it comes back to me. We started this one July 11th, 2024. Mine's on 20 count Latte from Fiber on a Whim, 1/1, and I used a sulky number 2241, and whatever else mine looks like. I'm excited. No one's really shared any progress photos, so I don't know what mine looks like at all. I'm kind of excited to see it once it comes back. But yeah, Rosetta is my 31st project on this list. Kawaii Cat is my next one though. This one is by Una Buena Pieza. I started this on July 14th, 2024, and it looks like this. Fabric is 36 count Winter Moon from Zweigart, 2/2 with the called for DMC. I don't know if it's like the small motifs, having to change my color more often, but that one also just doesn't call to me as often as I would like it to. So, yeah. Let's move right along to Octopus's Garden from Blackbird Designs. I started this on July 26th, 2024. It looks like this. Fabric is 38 count Vermeer Blue from Access Commodities. I found it on 123 Stitch. 1/2 with the called for Gentle Art, but I did sub Blackboard for Garden Gate because Garden Gate is very brown, and I think it was supposed to be in the tentacles, and in the cover photo looked much more blue, so I decided to make that change. Yeah, that is Octopus's Garden. The next project is another by Blackbird. This is Away We Ride. And this one's, I think, almost too big for my board. Oh, no, it just fits. Just barely. I started this one on September 16th of 2024. And that is what Away We Ride looks like. Fabric is 36 count Brenda's Brew from R&R, 1/2 with the called for Gentle Art. And that is Away We Ride. Alright, next up, Itty Bitty Piece. This vehicle stops at All Needle Workshops from Waxing Moon Designs. This was my birthday start in 2024, and it is measly for having been a WIP for so long. So September 17th is when I started this one, and here is what it looks like. This is on that 38 count Vermeer Blue from Access Commodities, 1/2 with colors that I chose. It's DMC, Gentle Art, and Classic Colorworks. Yeah. And that's this vehicle stops. Autumn Bird is up next. I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this should be the project that got the most progress this year. I was very close to finishing it at the end of 2025. I say this year, I mean 2025. But I didn't quite hit that finish. So this will definitely be a finish early 2026. Here is Autumn Bird that I started September 22nd. Fabric is 36 count platinum from Zweigart, 1/2 with colors that I subbed in. They're Gentle Art and Classic Colorworks. And yeah, this one I would have hoped to have gotten done, but it'll be done sooner than later, I promise. This will be the last finish for the seasonal Leggy Birds from Heart and Hand. I'm excited to finish them into a little set quartet of pillows. So that is Autumn Bird. All right. I'm gonna take a quick pause. I need to refill my water cup. I'll cough and then I'll be right back. So just give me a second. All right, water has been refilled. I am using my Queen City Stitch cup. Let's go ahead and jump back in. Next on my list is Blue Dreams from Barbara Anna. Get out of my pile of whips, little girl. Blue Dreams I started on September 25th of 2024, and it looks like this. Fabric is 36 count Peach Cobbler from Millennial Fabrics. It was a fabric of the month, and I thought it was perfect for this piece. I'm stitching 2/2 with the call for DMC. And there is Blue Dreams. Next, Blackbird's Autumn from Robin Pickens. This is in the same series as Robin's Spring. And I have yet to start summer or winter, but that will be done at some point. I'm having to move my pile of whips because the dog has decided she wants to try and step on them. Alright, Blackbird's Autumn I started on October 1st of 2024. Again on 14 count oatmeal fiddler's cloth, Charles Craft, 2/1, called for DMC. And these ones, like I said, are very fun to stitch. I love a project that has good little blocks of color. Okay. After Blackbird's Autumn is Halloween Tiny Town by Heart and Hand. This one I started on October 2nd, 2024. And my progress so far. Fabric is 18 count fawn from Millennial Fabrics. 2/1 with DMC, Gentle Art, and Classic Colorworks in a conversion that I came up with. So there's the beginning of this tiny town. that much progress. Hopefully this will be touched more this year. After Halloween Tiny Town is Serena Sprout. Fold this one down a little bit. You can see all the empty fabric. I started Serena Sprout actually at Queen City Stitch Retreat last, 2 Octobers ago now, in 2024 on the 18th. She looks like this. Fabric is 36 count Peridot from Fiber on a Whim, 2/2 with the called for DMC. And there is Serena Sprout. Next is Morning Glory from Nora Corbett. And this is the last WIP that I have from 2024, so that's exciting. This one I started on November 4th of 2024, and she looks like this. Fabric is 28 count Haze from Atomic Ranch. 2/2 with the call for DMC. And that's Morning Glory. And all of the 2024 WIPs, which means from here on out, I don't have start pictures or pictures from last year's WIP parade to show you, so you'll just be getting the project itself. So hopefully this goes a little bit faster. I don't have to pause for pictures to be put in. My New Year, New Start for 2025 was Ocean View from Una Buena Pieza. This one I started on the 1st of 2025, and it looks like this. This one I'm stitching on 40 count Blue Ridge from Atomic Ranch, 1/2 with the call for DMC. And there's Ocean View. Not in my hanging thread that I'll have to deal with later. Okay. After Ocean View is Cabin in the Woods. Cabin in the Woods is from the Artsy Housewife's Patreon from January. I started this one on January 15th. And it looks like this. Fabric is 40 count Sparrow from Millennial Fabrics. 1/2 with a conversion I came up with of Gentle Art and Classic Colorworks. And that is Cabin in the Woods. Then we have the Stitchy Tier from Erin Elizabeth. This one took lots of hemming and hawing. I have had to restart it twice. But this one is going to stay. I like this one. Started on January 23rd. Looks like that. Fabric is 16 count Cocoa from Fiber on a Whim. 2/1 with the call for DMC. Alrighty. Follow Your Heart is next. This one's by Silver Creek Samplers. I started on February 11th. And it looks like this. Fabric is 32 count truffle from Picture This Plus. This is definitely more pink in person. I think a lot of people talk about truffle, and it is the hardest to photograph fabric. It is very more pink toned, not so brown. I'm stitching 2/2 with a color conversion of Gentle Art and DMC that I came up with. And that is Follow Your Heart. All right, now we get to some restarts. I restarted Themers and Fungi from Fine Frog Stitching this year. I had gotten pretty far on the original start, but I wasn't super loving the 1/1 on 18 count that I chose originally for it. So I switched to a different color fabric in 20 count, and I restarted this one on February 17th. I'm trying to find the best angle for you to see. You can't really see the lighter color of the frames, but the darker color stands out. This is 20 count Plum from Fiber on a Whim, 1/1 with the Golf for DMC. So that's Femurs and Fungi. And then I get to do Plants and Petrichor. Plants and Petrichor was started on February 18th. Looks like this. Fabric is 20 count Malachite from Fiber on a Whim. And I'm stitching 1/1 with the Call for DMC. Alright. Last one by Fine Frog Stitching, I promise, at least for now, for this video. At least Sal's. I think I do have one more. Anyways, last one is Court of Crows. This one I started on February 21st. Looks like that. Fabric is 20 count Raspberry from Fiber on a Whim, 1/1 with the Call for DMC. I don't know if you can sense a theme. And I did buy a 20 count from Fiber on a Whim to stitch Twigs and Tea on as well. So starting that this year is another kind of plan at some point. I'm not making my plan super strict, but I am trying to like keep on with a general schedule. Next project is another Sal. This one is from Forbidden Fiber Co. This is the Empyrean Sal, inspired by the series Fourth Wing. I started on March 6th. This is where I've gotten to. Fabric is from Forbidden Fiber Co. that they dyed especially for this project. I got 40 count. It's called Feathertail. I'm stitching 1/2 with the Forbidden Fiber Co. color flosses. And that's the Empyrean Sal. looks a little crazy because I tried a new gridding technique on this one that I had never tried before. I don't know if I love it. I might pull it out. But this is called Flower Bees. It's inspired by Minecraft. The artist designer is Colorfully Sarah. I started this one on March 22nd. Here is what that looks like. I dyed this 16 count myself with neon green, some aqua neon yellow, and a little bit of pink quartz to get that like kind of brownish going through. I don't know if I 100% love it, but I'm not going to restart it. So this one I'm stitching 2/1 with the call for DMC. And there's Flower Bees. We're getting close. We just passed the 50 WIP mark. Next I have Strawberry Milk. This one is by Annie B's Folk Art. Started on March 28th. Looks like that. Fabric is 40 count toe beans from Be Stitch Me. 1/2 with a conversion I came up with of Gentle Art, Classic Colorworks, and DMC. It's so cute. I'm getting close to being done. Just need to fill in the house, the grass, finish the flower, and it will be done. But until then, it remains on the list. Okay, so you've seen one Lola Crow mystery stitch along. How about I show you another one? This is the Extraordinary Bird Sow, and I started this one on April 7th, and it looks like this. Fabric is 40 count Luna Moth from Be Stitch Me, 1/2 with the called for DMC. All right. Then we have Against the World. This is by Marumi Designs. And I started on June 22nd, 2025. Fabric is 40 count maple sugar from Lakeside Linens, stitching 1/2 with Pirate and Robin Glam Pride. Super fun. Loving the way that the colors are working up. I love a highly variegated floss. Just so fun. Alright, after Against the World is Strawberry Goose Witch. This is the last project that I have from Fine Frog, I promise. And I started this one on June 24th. She's being stitched on 40 count Gaia from Atomic Ranch, 1/2 with the call for DMC. She's absolutely darling. I love her so much. Next we have Rainbow Crossing from Silver Creek Samplers. I started this one on June 25th in honor of my my first dog and her passing. And hope to have this one done by June of next year on the 10-year anniversary. I'm stitching this one on 18 count Mystic Rain from Millennial Fabrics, 2/1 with the called for DMC. After Rainbow Crossing is Summer's Day from Jet X Stitch. Started on July 20th on 40 count Coral Sand from Be Stitch Me, 1/2 with mostly the called for, but I did have to make some substitutions either because of my fabric color or something that I just didn't have in stash. So there is Summer's Day. Okay, number 57 is another mystery stitch along that has completed at this point. This is the Divine Beast Sal from Needle-Lot Designs. I started on July 23rd, and I did get the frame done, so when this one comes up on my Sal a month wheel, I will hopefully be able to stitch a full month motif, a full piece, next release, whatever you want to call it, or just put stitches into this one and I have the border set up. This fabric is 22 count Hardanger that I dyed. I went onto the WIP website and I looked up a color. This one's called Grease, Gris. I just followed the instructions for a skein of yarn amount. And it's 1/1 with the call for DMC. It's a long time to be talking with your throat not being 100%. I'm definitely feeling like I'm losing my voice now, so I'm gonna cough and sip water again, so give me one more second. Okay. Number 58 is Autumn Town from Autumn Lane Stitchery. I started this one on September 17th. So it was an accidental birthday start. I wasn't planning this, but I started it and forgot that it was my birthday. This one is again on a piece of fabric that I dyed, but this one's a 36 count. I went to the WIP website again and found a green that I liked. This one is called Farm Life. I'm stitching 2/2 with the called for DMC and Classic Colorworks or Dental Art that I found substitutions of for the Glorianas that were supposed to be in this project. So yeah, that is where that one got to this year. Last year. Whatever you want to say. Next, we have A Girl and Her Kitties. This is another full coverage project. The artist is Eder Jose Rosa. It's charted by Stitches So Beautiful. This is going to be a little bit of a pathetic thing that I'm going to show you because this is the third time that I've restarted this piece. I haven't been able to decide whether I like 1/1 full cross or 2/1 10th stitch on 25 count. So I have restarted this one with 1/1 full cross, and I think I like this better than the 10th stitch, at least on 25 count. I think I might try 10th stitch with 2 strands on 28 count, that should give me the coverage that I'm looking for. But on 25 count, it's just a little bit too sparse in my opinion. But anyways, enough gab. Here is the teeny tiny little bit that I have stitched on A Girl and Her Kitties. Like I said, I have started and restarted this one several times since October 8th. And I should, hopefully, I had, I think, 300 stitches done before I decided I didn't like the 10 stitch and wanted to switch back. So once I hit that 300 stitch mark, this one might go into hibernation for a little bit. We'll see. I think, me talking, this is on 25 count, easy grid, Lugana. 1/1 now, and to stay, Call for DMC. Alrighty, and now we've reached the last project. This one was my most recent start, obviously. I started on December 26th, so not all that long ago, but I love it. This is the Schwarzwald Quaker from Owl Forest Embroidery. It looks like this. My fabric is 40 count Gray Magic from Bestitch Me. I'm stitching 1/2 with a Mosale silk called Church. And this combo, chef's kiss. I love it. I'm not usually a Quaker stitcher, but this one just pulled me in. I love it. And that's all of my WIPs. Just for posterity, when I do one of these guys, I'll take a screenshot. How crazy is this pile? Ooh. Thank you for bearing with me for 60 projects. Let's talk about my plans for this coming year. And Bree is going to join us for this. Hello, little girl. So I am participating in WIP Go again this year, but I have limited it a bit. So instead of putting projects on, like one project for however many days or something, I decided to pick 5 of my oldest, biggest projects and put them on my bingo board. I'll put that over here so you can see it, each 5 times, and have it go from 100 to 500 stitches depending on which call. So if I can hit whatever those goals are for the month that they're called, by the end of the year, each of these projects will have gotten 1,500 stitches, which I like the sound of that. So Pokey All, Stardew Valley, Candy, No Time Like the Present, and Cosmic Lover will all be on my WIP Go board for 5 times each. And then I'm also going to participate in Pick a WIP if Marjorie Maid hosts again this year, as well as Beth the Steadfast Stitcher's acrostic in her Facebook group Crafts and Books. I'm going to spin the wheel on Tiny Decisions for my Sala month and stitch on that one. I'm going to play along with Laura Stitching by the Shore. She hosts I Spy. And then when it comes around again to it, this coming year, I'm gonna watch and stitch for the Great British Bake Off, which is something that Jessie Marie Does Stuff has come up with to do. So I will be stitching for all of those things. I hope for this year is to finish. Sorry, I just like totally covered you with my book, trying to block my dog from coming up on my lap. My hope is to finish like 10 projects from my WIP list. Hopefully more than that, but the ones that weren't really touched last year. I'm hoping to finish Enchanted Realms, my Mother's Day Valentine, Butterfly Duo, He Has Risen, the green one, Busy Bees, Moon Moth, Pumpkins in the Moon, Free and Brave, Stitchy Tear, and Rainbow Crossing. Now, if I finish all those, great. I'll work on some other stuff. But my primary focus is going to be on the WIPCO numbers first, and then pulling something from that to finish list to stitch on before anything else. Another plan is to hopefully finish Stardew Valley. I don't know if that's going to be possible. I might just get it to like 75% by the end of the year. That would be super cool. I think I would only need to do like 750 stitches a month. I say only, my schedule is busy, so we'll see, but I'm just going to keep chipping away on that one, you know, get, like, maybe if I pull it down a little bit and say, okay, if I get like 100 stitches a week, maybe that would be super helpful to getting it closer to a finish. And then the last plan, sort of, it's a plan that I've got for this year, is I am going to try to participate in a no-buy, low-buy situation. Sorry, I bumped you. So I'm not going to buy any more fabric, any more patterns. I'm not in any thread or fabric of the months. I have opted out of the Patreons that I was in. So I'm not spending any other money towards cross-stitch this year, except there's 2 exceptions. One being I'm going to continue buying 5 Gentle Art and 5 Classic Colorworks at 3 stitches when I go for my monthly stitchy group, as well as I am going to limit myself to either once or twice a month of Mo sale purchases. It definitely got to be a lot. I only started buying from Mo's in August, and I already have well over 100 skeins and like several hanks of silk, and I need to rein it in, use what I've got, and yeah, just try to shop my stash as much as I can this year. I do have plans, like I hope to start these things. I think I have fabric for them. And if I don't, I'm going to put them off until next year when I can purchase that, whatever I want for those things. But big plans for this year. Me and my husband are hoping to buy a house at some point closer to the end of the year, close near the end of the year, so that when our lease is up here at the end of 2026, we're able to move out into that house. And I would like to start putting more of my paychecks towards savings instead of towards cross-stitch. I originally did just get my job to fund my hobbies, but I do need to help fund our new life in home ownership. So going to make very limited purchases on stitching and other hobbies this year to see where we can go with that extra bit of cash. Okay, so those are all of my plans for this year. I am super excited. I am going to pause for a second. I'm going to kind of rearrange myself. I will be right back and I will go through the finishes that I had for 2025. And I have 12 of them, so it shouldn't take too long. So hold tight, I will be right back. Okay, let's go through these finishes. So like I said, I had 12 finishes for 2025, only one of which is a fully finished object or an FFO. I think I said this near the beginning, I'm a process stitcher. I do it for the active stitching. The fully finishing is not like as high for me. It doesn't give me the same dopamine hit as the stitching part, but I did get some finishes. The first was Summer Bird. I finished this one January 4th. It's so cute. It has this little bee button. Alright, then next, I wish I could say a little bit more details. So Summer Bird is by Heart and Hand. It's stitched on 36 count platinum with a color conversion that I came up with. Next is Crafty Goose from Frizzy Lizzie. I'm just gonna tack them on top of each other. That looks like this. I stitched on 18 count Neptune from Millennial Fabrics. It's such a cute little one. Finished on March 19th. Actually, I need to move them because it's going to get too bulky. After that, I finished the Spring Bird from Heart and Hand, also on 36 count platinum. And it has his cute little dragonfly button. April 15th is when I finished this one. Next is We Remember from Plum Street. If I remember what this fabric is, I can try to check. I know it's 40 count, but it's 40 count what? 40 count espresso from R&R. And I used, they called for DMC, but I subbed out the fancy flosses and the reds and the poppies. And that one I finished just before Memorial Day, which was my goal for it. Which was when? I finished that one May 5th. Alright, then I have a teeny little finish. This one is from Imprints, Berries, and Blooms from Heart and Hand. I stitched the little berry section on 40 count. I believe this is Creme Brulee from R&R. Finished on the 9th of June. And then we have Snowy Reindeer. This one is on 36 count fog lifter from R&R, and I finished it on July 11th. I will say this was one of my older WIPs. I had started this one November 30th, 2023, and finished it July 11th, 2025. So, shouldn't have taken me that long, but it's done now. It's super cute. Alrighty. Next one is Believe by the Trilogy. This one's also on 40 count. You know what, now that I think about it, this one I think is creme brulee, and the berry is on vanilla bean, I think, from both of them R&R, both 40 count. This one I finished on July 30th. Alright. The next finish is probably my favorite finish from this year. This is Snack-O-Lantern from Boomerang Stitches. I stitched this one. It did not take me that long. I started it in May and finished it September 23rd. And I love it. It's so cute. I have to figure out what to do with him because I do want to display him for spooky season. Fabric is 36 count Frost, I think, from Be Stitch Me. And there's Snack-O-Lantern. The next project is the only FFO that I had this year, and it's Hello Autumn from Primrose Cottage. This is a free pattern that I got from their newsletter on 14 count oatmeal fiddler's cloth. And this is my first pillow finish. It has this really pretty teal fabric for the backing. I filled it with polyfill and poly pellets. Stitched the bottom. Probably could have done a little bit better job with that, but it's not terrible. And yeah, I think it's super cute. It didn't take me that long to stitch and finish this one, from October to November 12th of 2025. And there is Hello Autumn. And I had like a string of finishes near the end of the year, starting with Hello Autumn. I stitched and finished in the month of November Gloria, which should be called Rejoice in my opinion, but I'm not going to complain, from October House Fiber Arts. On 28 count Pale Grey Gingham. Depends on which way I hold the fabric. You can see the gingham fabric, the gingham pattern, I should say. And yeah, this one was stitched from the beginning of November to November 27th. Then we have Christmas Bird. Christmas Bird is also on 40 count creme brulee. It's the same as Believe, using very similar colors. I started this one December 14th, 2024, finished on December 9th, 2025. And there's Christmas bird. Probably has space on here to maybe do another one. We'll see. And my last finish for 2025 was Stitching Bird from Heart and Hand. This is probably my favorite of all of the Leggy birds, both design-wise and that I've stitched so far. I just think it's so cute. This one I started April 5th, 2024 and finished April 20th, 2025. And I'm very, very, very happy. I only had 8 finishes last year, so I did bump up that number a little bit. My goal, like I've talked about for 2026, is to have some more bigger finishes and bring my WIP list down a little bit. So I might try for a finish 2 things you can start something, or finish 3 things you can start something, and give myself like an incentive to work on the projects that I already have, because I would like to try and bring my WIP list down. I'm thinking closer to like 30 something projects would be more manageable, so I need to cut my WIP list in half. Okay, that is everything for this video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you stayed to this point, I am so appreciative. You all have been amazing for this time that I've been on Flosstube, and I am so looking forward to what 2026 will bring. I hope you have a wonderful, blessed stitching year. I'm excited to see all of the projects that you work on as well. I can't wait. I'm just so excited for this coming year. I guess I'll leave you with that. One last thing I wanted to show off. My orts from 2025 have all been put into this ornament that I'm going to 2025 sticker embellish somehow on here, and this will go on my stitching tree. I do have another ornament of similar size and shape that I'm going to do for this year. I'm very excited. That is truly the end. You all have a wonderful year, and I will talk to you in my next video. Until then, happy stitching. Just as surprised as you.